Hi everyone, Lukas from Gisbertphotography.com, and in this video I'm going to give you my review of the Samyang 85mm f1.4 for Fuji mount. Now, I actually got that lens a long time ago when I had a Nikon and switched it on to a Sigma 85 autofocus and then move on to the Nikon after that. But I remember at the time when I got it, it was just excellent lens, and I will invite you to watch my review for the Nikon. I'll put the link down up here or down below so you can find it easily. So when I moved from Nikon to Fuji, which was not so long ago, the problem with Fuji is you're still quite stuck with the number of lenses you can get. I mean, you can probably get everything you need to do your job, but we are quite limited when we compare to Canon or Nikon, who are a tremendous amount of lens available from their own brand, but also from third-party companies like Sigma, Tamron, Tokina, Samyang. I mean, the list just goes on and on. You really have a big amount of choice. And with the Fuji, you know, the choice is quite limited and quite expensive. You know, if you look at the 56mm f1.2 from Fuji, you're looking at about €1,000, which will be equivalent in your currency, which is quite a lot of money. And I think for someone who's really looking for a nice portrait lens, that could be quite costly if they only do this semi-professionally or as a hobby. There's a lot of money to take out to buy a lens. So I actually got a 56mm, but I was looking for something with a bit of more of a range and a better bokeh. I mean, I'm not complaining about the 56mm bokeh at all. It's an amazing lens, you know. I'll 100% recommend that lens. But I was looking for something a bit more range, a bit more compression, something that's come a little closer than to 135mm f2, which you can get for Nikon or Canon. And the options are quite limited. I know that Fuji is coming out with a 90mm f2, but the f2 will not mean f2, it will actually mean a bit more. And the problem with that is you won't get that bokeh which you will get with an 135mm. I might be wrong, they've not been released yet, but my guess is that it won't be as good as the equivalent in Nikon or Canon when it comes to the bokeh lens, bokeh quality. And this is really what I was looking for, something that really gives me that smooth bokeh. And while I completely forgot about the Samyang, I was actually browsing online and I came across this photographer who's called Martin Castaigne or Castaigne. I may be getting this wrong, so I'm sorry, Martin, if I do. And I saw this set of images which were pretty incredible, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that the equipment has anything to do with it, but, you know, this compression he was getting, this bokeh he was getting on those shots, I just couldn't work out what lens he was using, because that was not a 56mm, and it was something about it, like a kind of a cinematic look to it, a bit soft, you know. It wasn't tack sharp, it just had this style into it. I really loved it. So I contacted Martin, and I do recommend you check his website and his Facebook page. He's really an incredible photographer. I'll put down his detail below. And he told me that he used the Samyang 85mm. So I was a bit surprised, but I looked it up and found the Samyang for €250, and I thought, right, okay. For €250, I think this could be really a really good bargain. So I got it myself, and it actually comes with a Fuji mount, which you won't find that many third-party lenses company offering those lenses with the adapter mounted on it. Now, if you do use a mixed camera like Nikon or Canon, I do recommend you get a Samyang for your main brand and then get the adapter. But being a full Fuji user, it wouldn't make no sense for me. So I got the one with the actual little adapter, which you can see, which is just an extension tube with the mount for the Fuji. And there it is. So, I mean, it's a big lens when you compare it to the 56 or the 23mm from Fuji. and it does feel a bit unbalanced. Using the grip will definitely give it a better balance and a more a better control over it, you know, a better use. Now, the Samyang 85mm 1.4 is only a manual focus lens, so that's something to bear in mind. And that was the reason why I sold it the first time when I had Nikon, is because it's quite tricky to get the manual focus on. The bag is quite small but firm, and I found my technique of going in and out, trying to get the focus pretty good, and using the focus assist is also a big help to me. The lens construction is pretty plasticky, apart from the adapter, which is metal. But everything is plastic. The hood is plastic. The caps is pretty crap, I can tell you. It doesn't fit very well. It kind of drop easily. The inside of the clips, you can't really get your finger in it. It will just slip through. And I mean, it's not a great construction. And again, it's a 250-euro lens. The glass inside is not too bad. There is no coating of any type, if I'm correct. So you've got to be careful with flare. It's not something it's going to handle very well. But the good thing is the bokeh you're getting out of it. I mean, you've seen the picture from Martin, which I just posted, but I will post you some of the picture I've put. And the comparison between the 56mm and this lens is that the 56 is way more sharper, and it does have those Fuji colors, which is very nice. The Samyang has a softer, is definitely softer, much softer than the Fuji, but has a better bokeh and has a bit more compression. So depending on what you're shooting, this could actually be a better lens than the Fuji. I also feel like the Samyang has a style to it, and you can recognize the pictures been taken with the Fuji, and I think it's come from the softness and the color, which is a bit more neutral, I would say. You get a bit more, less contrast, less punchy color. Everything seemed to be more neutral, and that's why I was saying that it looked a bit like a cinematic. When I was looking at those pictures, I feel a bit like a cinematic images, you know, where everything is a bit more flat. There is not so much big contrast and big pop colors. Obviously, all this can be amended in post, and my style is pretty much a bit popped. So I do amend it in post, but the base raw you're getting is much more flat. After you do get a bit of a green tint cast, but that is fixable in Lightroom very easily. But I do have to push the tint a bit up just to give it a better color. Okay, so bottom line, I think the Samyang 85mm f1.4 is an excellent purchase if you are a Fuji owner. I think it really gives you a cheaper option than if you can afford the 56mm. I think in regard to difference between the 56 and the Samyang, when it comes to bokeh, when it comes to compression, you do get a slight difference, which is noticeable. But it is a much softer lens, and I don't think in some way it can replace the 56, but I think it's a great add to the 56 if you already have it, or a great lens if you can afford the 56. Yeah, like I say, you know, construction is not great. You got to be careful with weather sealing. There is obviously no weather sealing whatsoever, so using it under the rain can take your lens at risk, but your camera as well, because water can get through here. But apart from this, you know, with a grip, I find it well balanced. It's really joy to use, and it's a bit tricky, you know. I wouldn't use it for children portraiture or very little, or been very careful, because it's manual focus, and at 1.4, well, it is tricky. Let's be honest, it is very tricky. But I've used it, and I'll put a few videos of how actually I work on my focus, and then I'll put a video on and I'll put a few pictures to show you some of work I've done with it. Okay, so the way I focus in manual focus is I keep it in standard and then just move forward and backward, and you normally kind of get an idea of where you are. Now when you're shooting people like that, it can be a bit difficult. That's why it's important that they stay still, and once you got it up, you take the shot. But I found that moving forward, backwards, it really gives you, your eyes will kind of see when you're in focus. Using the focus assist is definitely an help because it will really focus on it. After you need to come out because it won't, you want to know about your composition, but it's a big help. So that's the way I work my autofocus, my manual focus.